Welcome, everybody, to the Darien Sewer Commission regular meeting agenda of Tuesday, January 2nd, 2024. Calling the meeting to order at 4:32 p.m. in room 206. Happy New Year.
Can you believe it's 2024?
Let's go around the sun one more time. What do you think?
Oh, God, I can't do that.
It's starting to really feel like a like kind of a futuristic sci-fi number now. You
It's
know?
not right.
It's like what would 8-year-old of me have said 2024
You
was
thought
going
it
to
would
be
have
like?
ended in year 2000. Remember the bugs?
I couldn't figure out how to turn up the sound on my son's TV, and my 7-year-old grandson says, "Give that to me." He says like,
That's
Yeah.
2024.
Yeah.
That's what it means.
I'm like, Nolan,
So
can
thank you for
turn
tuning
that
in for the conversation about how old we are.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. First item on the agenda is to approve the minutes from December 5, 2023.
I didn't see anything.
I have just one thing. On page 3 of 5, up at the top, on the Kensett discussion,
Yes.
I don't know what that sentence is, but can we change it to be, Ms. Cameron made a motion to not retroactively charge current owner.
Not to go retro.
Go
I wanna see you go
form
retro.
the previous owner, period,
Well,
alternate
what
location.
also says location received and invoice for, it should be and. Should be no D.
Oh, under the Mr. Hill
I spoke
motion?
too
No,
quickly.
Oh, wait,
just
wait.
the
Oh,
beginning.
yeah, that was a nit, that was like a little nit. This was a sentence that didn't make sense, and since it's
Get an
attributed to
Made a
me.
invoice
motion
or
Sorry.
pay.
To not,
I think it's
Ms.
from the previous owner.
Right,
Instead of
well,
form.
I'm not even
But
getting
it's
into that.
strange.
Ms. Cameron made a motion to not retroactively charge current owner, period. And forget all the alternate location, I don't know what.
well, it'll be something along the lines of made
You
a
see all
motion
that,
to
Darren?
not collect retro from the previous owner, I think is. what you-
Whatever.
What you were trying to do.
Well, that's what I
But I would
I don't know
say
what I said. I
collect.
didn't go back and,
I would say not collect
So Darren, what do you
retro
have
from-
written
Yeah.
down?
Ms. Cameron made a motion to not retroactively charge previous owner,
Oh.
period.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good.
Get rid of
no.
alternative location,
It was
alternate
previous
oh,
location.
yeah, I'm
owner,
sorry,
correct.
previous owner.
Yeah.
No, yes,
thought it
no,
was.
We don't want to charge the current owner. That was the current owner. We want to go back and charge the previous owner.
Oh.
That's the next motion.
Oh, yeah. The
Okay.
current owner,
Okay, so-
The
right.
current owner,
Yeah.
it didn't
Made a
think it was
motion
fair
to
to go
not-
after them for the 3 years they didn't live there.
So there were two motions.
Oh, yes.
The second motion
Yes.
was to go after the one before.
Current.
Okay, so the first one should be, Ms. Cameron made a motion to,
Not retroactively charge current owner.
Current owner, just change previous to current.
Yeah. Good catch.
Well,
oh,
just
the
take
pre-
off the-
above is previous to current. Got it.
Yeah,
Okay.
Don't change the not, change the previous.
yes.
Well, change all of it. Just take all that go retro form, the previous owner,
He
period.
got all that.
alternate
I
location.
think. You want to read it one more time to make sure we're straight?
Ms. Cameron made a motion to not retroactively charge current owner.
That's correct, thank you.
Period. Excellent.
That's
Any
the only
other edits to the minutes?
The second motion's okay?
Yeah.
Yes, the second motion was fine. I'll be interested to see if we
Get anything.
collect anyone.
All right, can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll move we approve the minutes as amended.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
4-0. We're moving on to sewer user fee appeals, 33A, 33 Beverly Place. Is this an item that we require the
I don't believe so.
owner? Okay,
Because
so,
he was here and
Yeah.
that was that one with that very in-depth,
yes, and we just needed one more bill or
Test
something,
from,
and there it is, boom, whoa.
Aquarian, and now we have a month where it's
Holy
down to
smokes.
5.
That's impressive.
And then we extrapolate that out, like timesing it times 12 and then times 7.06. And we get a motion of a new amended sewer bill of $423.
As recommended by
60 cents.
staff.
Yes,
So is
as
that,
recommended by staff.
so do you move that is that a motion that,
Yes.
okay, do I have a second on the motion?
I'll second.
Any further discussion on the motion to grant the appeal? All those in favor? Three in
Oh,
favor?
sorry.
Three in
Yeah, and
favor?
I'm against. I just thought the change of ownership and I wasn't
Okay.
quite sure.
So all opposed?
One.
Reese is opposed? Okay, 3-1. Item 4, you would like to talk to us about 44 Andrews Drive.
for from what I read, for some reason, CompuTel had it down as a automatic minimum. And Penny called them up, and the person she spoke with said it's been that way since prior to 2013. And now it's a question, and she now has changed, she asked them to change it, so it's billing at the proper way, and she asked, do we want to go back to 3 years or not?
That's correct. And also Penny checked with CompuTel, and they found no other such permanently fixed minimum charges for no explainable reason.
Yeah, that
Maybe-
was in here too. I
Maybe they
just
were working on
forgot to
that, renovating the house or something, and they've gone to minimum use, just the tile guy or.
Could have been. It's a newer
Mistakes
house,
happen.
probably
Yeah.
was for subdivision.
The other thing is the names are different. On our appeal, it's Falconrath, and on their bill, it's Fallon. Richard Fallon.
Is it not just, is it cut off?
No, Fallon and Falconrath are two, but the
Got
wife's name is the
Fallon.
same.
Fallon and Wilson on the
Right,
aquarium bill.
but if you look at our appeal, it says Richard Falconrath and Penelope Wilson.
AKA Mr. Fallon.
Oh, okay.
I don't know,
I don't know.
just to let everyone know, we even read silly things that don't matter.
Yeah, I didn't catch that.
Sometimes.
I'm gonna go with Penny on this one.
No, I can't throw it on her, come on.
I just can't think she would make that up.
It looks like from the calculations
Neil, would you come up with a
provided that it would be
extra $500?
an extra $622.11.
Yeah,
For
but
3
if
years.
we're gonna do that, the one thing that I would ask is we actually, what, in my opinion, correct the 2022 bill. To me, it looks like the November has irrigation on it. So I did it with.
I agree with that.
Not using
The 11?
November,
The 15 from the 2022 bill, yeah.
and just did the 6, 6, 3, and 4, and
Okay, that's
came
fair.
up with 3,
Oh,
12,
yeah.
16.
So are you making a motion to?
Do you have your total of all three?
But I
Correct.
did not do that, I've
Oh,
got a nightmare going on at work.
Okay, so you're making a motion to correct the prior 3-year bills so that the 2023 bill should be 310.64.
Yes,
That the 2022 bill should be
392.16.
392.16. And the 2021 bill should be 549.40.
Yes,
49 what?
40.
40.
Just want me to
Okay.
do it?
So that's a motion on the table.
Well, do you want to get the total number, and then we just go adjust, send out a bill for?
I think it's
I
gotta
would
be each
say
bill
it's-
adjusted.
If we go that far, I think it's in very capable hands. She'll understand what we're
Okay.
asking.
It's gonna be like in the 400s, all told.
Yeah, that's 130, that's 36, so that's what, 170?
So Bob has a motion on the table. Is there a second on the motion?
Yeah.
Reese seconds the motion. Any further discussion on the motion? All those in favor of the motion? We have 4 in favor, no opposed. It's
The
item
assessor
4.
has it as Falconrath.
So the.
It's just Aquarian. Maybe
Yeah.
they didn't understand when they were spelling it out.
So Penny got it right, and Cory got it wrong.
Item number 5 on the agenda, 67 Kensett Lane.
Which is the one we were referring to last
Oh, Kensett, yeah.
Oh, so there's like a letter in here.
month where they weren't billing them. And as of yet, Penny has not been able to come up with the actual numbers that they owe because after people move, it's a little bit more difficult to get the back records from Aquarian.
Interesting, yeah, you
So
need
she
permission
said she
from the
was
property
working on
owner. Yeah. Okay,
I liked her letter very much.
So should we, I would make a motion that when she has the,
I think we already
No.
made that motion, didn't we? Or, right?
We did, we just,
I believe that we wanted it back, but I mean, that she should include this letter here, this well-written letter.
Oh, yeah, I think we can do that on consensus. If there's any edits to the letter, we can make edits.
Yeah, it's fine.
Otherwise, I don't think it
I'm
requires
just-
a vote.
Giving her basically a vote of confidence.
Yes, amen.
The credit for the last one was $450.14, or the charge, the back charge.
Oh, over 3 years? Okay.
Yeah, you were right, very close.
Alrighty, so
You said the
then,
total, I'm
I
sorry.
think it's $450.14, $450.14. Did it quickly
Or
though.
15?
2000.
$450.14.
Oh, okay, yeah, I was gonna say.
Over the 3 years.
These numbers.
You need to go back to what they were charged, actually.
Oh,
Bob re-amortized that second year.
we ready to move on to number 6?
wait,
Yes.
we made a motion that once the amounts are known, we send a letter.
Oh, I didn't think we need
You
to,
already made that motion
He
last
didn't
time.
believe, he thought I
it's
was.
an administrative process. We already voted on the matter,
Okay.
whether you guys send an email or a letter or make a phone call.
Already.
And you're okay with the body?
Yeah, we don't have any edits
I
on
thought
the
it was a
letter.
great letter.
Compliments to the
Go
chef.
for it.
Yeah, compliments to Penny. I liked her language.
No motion. Thank you.
I didn't see the need for a motion, because I feel like we.
That's
That's
fine.
fine, I just want to make the minutes
I
correct.
was just trying to,
Item 6, 251 Boston Post Road, recycling water discount for Splash Car Wash. We had been giving them, which way does it go?
They've been
We had
getting
been giving them 15, but the
15%.
regs say 10.
we still haven't found anything that, or Penny wasn't able to find anything that gave them a
Special.
special dispensation.
Yeah. So we're,
I'd make a motion 10% going forward.
I agree with that.
yeah, I agree with that too.
Second?
So that's a first by Reese, that's a second by Bob. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Okay, 4-0.
And then she asked if change did we want to go back like we've done on other issues?
I'd say no, because this, for some reason, might have been something that was, there's no other reason for it. Just didn't get caught. It's our fault, 100%.
Should staff go ahead?
Although with Kensett, that last one on Kensett, they
Yeah, the other ones are our fault too, so I don't know.
missed by us.
Yeah,
Not
it was missed completely. They, in other words, this was a deal. Who knows?
You're
maybe.
assuming it was a deal.
Who knows?
Okay.
Right,
I-
rather than
all right,
trying
I
to
can find that.
regurgitate history, it's
Yeah.
easier to just move forward.
Okay. It'd be like $6,000.
Yeah.
Yep.
So she's asking a question.
$6,208.96.
So Reese, are
Good
you
for you.
making a motion?
Superintendent.
I'd make a motion that since we weren't able to uncover why, and it obviously was an inter-office, non-third-party computation, then we just look forward, not back.
Okay, do I have a second on that
I'll
motion?
second that.
Any further discussion on the motion? All those in favor of the motion? Okay, 3 in favor, all those opposed to the motion?
Fair
1,
enough.
3, 1. Bob's opposed to the motion. Understood.
No, I like that.
Yeah, we should make hard decisions sometimes, or we should just have one person up here.
Who would it be though, Craig?
Let me,
I'm getting
not
off
it.
the table.
We could alternate.
Sit up here by myself?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'll sit here with you.
Terror.
Can I get a little taller chair?
Start with other business.
New business.
Okay, peer ordinance review? Is that-
Item 7, peer review ordinance, something we looked at back in September and I think October. Ed, do you have any intro on this one?
Sure. Absolutely. Trying to keep up with you guys tonight here.
Whizzing
We
through.
have some speed going.
We came into 2024 with
I am
A
not-
lot of
vim and vigor.
caffeine.
I will not be the one to slow you down. What you had asked for is a building of an ordinance for peer review fees so that we could charge them. I did take the regulations that planning and zoning used to start to build it. So what you'll see at the top 2/3 of the page is what I thought was a good body, a good start. What you saw underlined and kept going from there is what planning and zoning has as a backup, if you will. You know, if-
Oh, wow.
If the sewer superintendent didn't do it, then the sewer commission can run in there and do it. And it falls under the same guidelines of how to charge it back, where you pay it back, you ask for 125%, and so on. But there was a section in there that says the sewer commission can do this. So I put that in there, and I wanted you folks to take a look at it and see whether you think you need to have that in there or not. And if we don't, then we go with the simple format up top, and we've worked that line.
So you have 2 weeks to decide whether or not an outside expert is necessary. If you do not make that determination, we have 2 weeks to make that determination. Is that correct?
That's kind of the gist of it, and those timelines can change.
Yep.
Yeah, because P and Z meets 3 times a month, and we only meet once a month. So I was a little concerned if we keep that we might miss.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I would give you 2 weeks to make the decision. I think that's reasonable. And then I think, at our next regularly
Yeah.
scheduled meeting,
There you go.
Yeah, that's
can.
good.
we can make such a determination.
So that could be up to 4 weeks, 2 weeks.
Yeah,
but
depending on the
rarely.
timing. Hopefully it wouldn't be, but yes, it could be.
And we still have the piece where if the peak flow is increased by more than 3750 gallons per day.
Yep.
Per day, per diem, I don't know what those things, then it's automatically going to get a review.
Which is kind of why I didn't know if you would need that whole second half, but belts and suspenders, that's fine too.
Well, how do you define an appreciable storm event? I mean, we've sat on EPC and flooding, it's the 2-year, the 25-year, the 50-year, it's 2 inches in 24 hours. What would that, and I like the fact that it's vague, but what could it mean?
Maybe Arcadis has an answer to this?
It's probably better to punt it that direction.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, us engineers can sit and talk all day what we think of
Yeah.
this is the first inch of rain now.
First inch,
First
yeah.
flush.
For a sewer study, I would say if you got more than an inch, that's pretty good. 'Cause
Over
you're-
24 hours?
You're putting a sewer in, you're putting a meter in a pipe for 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 10 weeks. Like, what are the odds of catching a large storm, right? So you're like, well, did I get half inch, did I get an inch, did I get something that's gonna tell me if there's an appreciable amount of inflow or infiltration? So that's what I normally do, but I wonder, Arcadis does this more frequently than me, certainly, and I wonder if there's some guidance.
And the tough part is if it's not saturated, if it's dry, and then you get the 1 inch, is it different than if it's
ground
frozen?
frozen.
Well, yeah,
Like that
inflow-
March
It's like
storm?
the surface inflow versus groundwater
Yeah.
inflow, so those are two different things, yep.
I don't know, I just threw it.
You're right,
I like-
appreciable is, what's the definition of significant?
There
Right?
you
How
go.
many times did you have to argue about that at P and Z?
A
It's
lot.
always fun,
It'd be nice if there was a standard.
but maybe there can't be.
Yeah.
Maybe this is more flexible. It just caught me as like, and I did have a question about, and I called Darren about 87% capacity, if that dry weather, wet weather, and how that might be measured. And,
Yeah, my
I think it's more
understanding
dry weather.
was, again, if you're doing flow metering, hopefully you're doing it in the spring or early summer, or late winter. So you're kind of capturing what's hopefully an elevated groundwater condition
Yep.
seasonally. Hopefully you capture a decent storm event, appreciable storm event,
Mhm.
to be defined. So then as you're building your capacity analysis, that's already baked in, right?
Mhm.
It's wet weather is baked in, a rainstorm is baked in, and then the actual flow is baked in, and
And
then
the
you're
size
putting
of
your
the pipe
flow on
is
top
not-
of that,
yeah.
yeah.
No.
The only thing the only thing that I see going forward with making a definition of that is knowing that it's vague and something we do have some latitude, but people's perception of what storms we are getting out there, it's different
Yeah.
depending on who you ask. And, if I ask you, do you know what that last storm we had and how much rain we got? If you had asked me when I was sitting at home listening to it come down, watching it flood the road, I would have told you it had to be close to 2.5, maybe 3,
Yeah.
1.9.
That was-
It just seemed different because of the way it was steady, but it was hard and it was over for a long period of
I
time.
would have guessed more.
And the one before that was barely 2. It was like 1.98.
And the most common refrain when I get into conversations is, oh, we're getting a 100-year storm every year. And I'm like, it's not how the math works, but yeah. But I get your point in that it's raining more and hard, and it feels like we get these big storms, but, so, yeah.
And some people I think are more sensitive now.
Yeah.
Still a little raw from the from 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And then where do we get the 3750 gallons per day? I know we haggled over that. What was the scope size? What's that? I know we went over
It
that.
was a
but-
certain amount of, I'd have to divide it out, but it was a certain amount of bedrooms.
25
But
bedrooms.
just for giggles,
We were going between 20 and 30, and we settled on 25.
So that's 20, and it's 120 gallons a day or 150? What-
Well, it's
we're using
150.
septic,
It's
or
150.
using the-
it's,
It's 150, which is the septic code,
Okay.
although the septic code is changing this year to 125 for bedrooms more than 3.
Is there finding less use with the?
Really?
yeah, well, the development where I work, they just used the number 115 per bedroom.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's not 150, I mean, I'll tell you that.
But
It's not.
if
But
you
that was
take,
the septic code,
but
right?
just for giggles, if you take the 3750 and you extrapolate it for a year, it's 1,368,000 gallons. So it's not a
So,
little bit,
okay,
it's
okay.
not a little bit of water.
Yeah, okay. I also did a study on average annual usage, which is, you can't take the top day and multiply the top day by 365, that's not what happens.
This is the Super Bowl.
You get, yeah. You get about, no, I
Halftime
looked-
Super
I
Bowl,
literally
yeah.
looked at 16 apartment buildings with like 1,800 units, and the average annual use is about 55 gallons per bedroom.
Wow,
It's about a third.
that's good.
But it's still, so it'd still be
Halftime at the Super
400,000
Bowl.
gallons.
That's
Still
what they
a lot-
said, the water company.
Still a lot of water.
No, I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying when it runs out like that, you never realize how bad
It's
it is.
it's the running faucet, and then you get your monthly bill.
Okay, no, that's cool. It's good
I
to
was
have that.
looking at-
I didn't see anything. The only thing I had a question, and just struck me a little strange, was the 125, collecting 125% of the estimated amount. When you actually hold the trump card that they gotta pay anything above and beyond before they're gonna get the permit anyway. So I don't really, that doesn't sit right with me personally.
What if my thought was, what if they're denied?
Oh, good point.
Is this the standard
That was my-
PNC
that was my-
currently uses?
I'm sorry?
Is this the standard that PNC currently
Yes,
uses?
that's why it's in there. I mean,
I know.
everything, you see, I didn't change anything other than P and Z director to sewer commission, sewer superintendent.
I just went through this in Wilton, they use 150%, which is
Wow.
a little absurd, but anyway. So I'm sensitive to, why not just collect the fee? But, you know, a little bit more, there's always ancillaries.
And number 5 could raise your eyebrows just a little bit. I threw that in there as an alternative, to Bob's point.
Yeah.
We
I
hold the
saw-
card, we could, but do you really want me using our operating funds to do that?
Well, look, I think, you know, we're.
I don't.
Well, let me tell you why I kind of agree with this being there.
I do too.
The sewer commission is hiring this consultant. We are the ones with the contract to the consultant. If for whatever reason there is a failure to pay on the applicant's behalf, and we can go after them and try and yada, 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 ultimately, we're responsible for paying that bill, we hired them. So I like that there is a option in there for us to be able to do
And we
that.
can always fight for it later as a separate issue.
Yeah,
Then we
exactly.
have the data that we need to make a decision. Going,
Is that what you were thinking?
So-
I was thinking the
Well,
exact
yeah.
same thing.
Well, wait a minute, aren't
So
you
you
saying?
guys, you saw it as an option.
Yeah,
I thought as a, pick one, but I can go with option. It gives us a little, again, more
Rather than-
flexibility with it.
Rather than having somebody say their whole project got tanked because this fee was added. And there is a lot of fees included in everything. This takes it off the table. Want to fight about that later? We'll fight about that later, but we're still going to get a peer review. It
As
gives
soon as you
the
come in for
option.
that permit for the sewer to tie in, there'll be the discussion will be had again that you didn't pay your bill.
Yeah,
And that's probably our only leverage at that point.
Yeah, I guess you were gonna say, well, they've already given you the check, so what's the payment problem, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or, I guess the other one was, you know, can we imagine a set of circumstances or conditions where we would want a peer review, even if the applicant was objecting, or not paying, right? I can
Or-
imagine that there might be a set of circumstances.
or arguing that they don't qualify under all
Yeah.
the mandatory,
Yeah,
triggers.
yeah, yeah.
It's this small and why are you picking on me?
Yeah.
It gives us an option to move forward and maybe we don't want to fight that.
And hire the
battle.
person and.
Hire them,
pay-
get it
pay
over
a-
with,
Yeah.
get the data. and
But
let's
if we
sit
wanted
down.
a study done, we could just hire, I mean, we could just make a motion to hire,
True as well.
I don't know if it has to be a quote-unquote peer review, it could just be a review,
I guess this puts the.
no?
This puts the applicant on notice
we
that,
had-
by the way,
gonna do it anyway.
we can do it if we want anyway.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I like that part of it. I really don't like it as the option, and now that Ed has opened my eyes to it, I'm good with 125%.
We'd only need to correct the no permit will be issues, it would be issued until the cost of all expert is paid. Just an S to a D. 5, the last sentence.
The other question I had, the underlined section, item 3, so the lead into that is, prior to making such determination, the sewer commission shall determine that the evidence is going to require an expert, that you guys are, for whatever reason, unable to perform the review, and that there is adequate time for the applicant to review and respond to such expert's report. Now, I guess on the one hand, this is like customer-facing accountability. Like, we're not gonna drag this on and you know, blow legal timeframes with P&Z reviews and so forth like that, so there's some consideration. But it struck me as like, well, why is that a factor? You know, almost.
Yeah, do we want that there? Kind of pushes back on us.
Yeah.
They can say, you
Yeah.
can't do this because we don't have enough time.
I mean,
We're not giving the extension.
I mean, I agree with the sentiment that we have a responsibility to, you know, due process to move things forward in an efficient manner. So I don't know if I'm like,
We are not as constrained as
to legal timeframes.
P&Z
Yeah.
is to a time. So that being in there, I can understand why they would have it. Again, I left it in there. I was on the fence.
And there was, you know, the one application where this might have helped us to have this code last year was ultimately they decided they had to withdraw and resubmit because of the timeframes and the need for more information, so.
As we're setting this up, it's almost mandatory that they have to come to us, at least in the early part of the approval process with planning and zoning. Couldn't they just do the buyer beware, go see what they can get for an approval, and then see if they have, it's up to them to
Yeah, it's
sequence.
interesting,
When
some.
I'm sorry, when you say us,
The sewer commission,
Sewer
it almost says, go to P and Z, talk to P and Z, get an idea of what, and then definitely go to the sewer commission. Well, what if they don't want to? What if they want to go see if they get X number of size building, use, whatever there, and then come here? And it's a conditioned approval on here, which is legal.
they will not come in and see you folks until Darren and I have had a chance to speak. And I think we've worked that with a couple of the engineering firms that are coming through with other projects right now. Planning and zoning has been helpful in that, in pushing them in our direction to get and meet with us early.
Okay.
The idea is to stop the multiple presentations on the same project when the numbers aren't working out. It doesn't look like it's going the right direction. Then, you know, there's no need to bring that to you folks.
So every town I work in, there is a, you know, planning and zoning referral process. You get a site plan or special permit application, it gets sent out to various departments, one of which is usually the sewer department of WPCA. Some town, and so it depends on what P&Z wants to do with that information when it gets returned. They
Could
can
be a
rely on it,
referral,
or
yeah.
just say, we'll condition it. So you're right, it's totally legal to condition it. There have been towns that it was not linked, right? So you just do your P&Z
Yeah.
and then you go get your WPCA and it's not linked. And that's more and more rare with all the issues that, you know, we've all been seeing.
The denser the town, the more likely the two are co-joined.
Yeah, yeah,
Not surprising.
yeah. Where did that come?
No, just in general, the process. It
Yeah,
seems
yeah,
like
yeah,
we're
yeah.
setting out a roadmap of what they should be doing, but they could choose to ignore this. Go to P and Z.
Yeah.
Not even talk to us.
You're right.
The proposed development lays out what they're supposed to be doing.
Right.
We spent a lot of time in making sure that these steps were very well defined. This is going to the developers when they come in, this is going to the engineers when they come in, the lawyers when they come in, so they know now that there's a process in Darien, and to get in early, to get started with this sewer review, because, you know, we know more about our sewer now than we did 10 years ago, and 5 years ago. And I think it's important that we get that message out. So I think that document is good. This one is, the ordinance that we're working on is pretty much saying, oh, by the way,
Here's the process.
this is, we can charge you now
Yeah.
for what we're doing to review your projects, if we have to go and hire a third party, as defined by the procedures.
So I would make the motion that we get rid of
Time limit.
number 3, underline number 3. Because I don't believe it works for us, in my opinion. I think public health trumps time.
So take out the and at the end of 2.
Well, it doesn't, and again, and on the specific decision of whether or not we're gonna hire an outside expert, how much time is left for the applicant to review it is not part of the consideration.
Can't be, because otherwise they'd point to it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
It's in here, you knew.
Yeah.
Now approve it.
yeah,
Yeah. Time's up.
yep, I agree.
And there are lawyers who will make that case.
They could easily.
If the words
That's
are
a
written
good
down,
catch.
the words are written down.
I've heard it. I've heard them.
So we have a motion, and do we have a second on the motion?
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Oh, the motion being,
Just to strike 3.
oh, okay, yes.
Yeah, okay, everybody agrees we should strike 3. But in general, we like the direction
Yes.
of the Code of Ordinances. Ed, what do you think the next step is for this?
Let me get the information from Arcadis, and what they
on that,
believe a
yeah, appreciable.
appreciable storm is, what
Yeah.
we should be using, you know, and maybe some opinions on,
Maybe 3 or 4 examples. That would be all, just something that says,
and, let me massage this now and get rid of some of the underlined stuff. Let me set it up so it reads a little bit better. This was my first shot at it, so.
Excellent.
Want
I
to
think
take
it
our time,
looks
want to
good.
make sure we get it right.
I think just getting them on notice to do these things is the important.
Oh, wait a minute, there's more on the next page, and there's a time element there, I didn't see that. I don't know if that's something we need to quote-unquote massage. Adequate time is on.
Mean the 7 days?
No, last paragraph.
No, the last paragraph. I think we strike the whole paragraph.
I'm with you, man.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to strike the final paragraph.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Passed.
What?
I was almost gonna just put it under your last motion because it was the same.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right,
It was the
that's
same
fine.
context.
yeah, it's 3 on everything. Underlined.
6 one way, half dozen the other.
Yeah. So, okay, so you're gonna get a little more information, tune it up a little bit
Turn it
more.
up and bring it back next month.
Sounds
Great.
good. Cruising right along. Ed, you wanna give us a little summary of your summary?
The last motion,
I think it was Bob.
Bob and
yes,
Susan.
I didn't catch the
Bob and
vote.
Susan.
Did you
One.
vote?
Or if you
Two.
combine it into one, it's Bob and Reese.
To eliminate the last paragraph.
Right.
4-0.
4 out.
4-0.
4-0, thank you.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's what happens when I go quick. It's not clear. I apologize.
Okay, so important numbers. Most of the first 4 lines, if you will, 1, 2, 3, 4, really nothing much has changed in there, so, but I left it included because they asked for it this way. So, and I got,
You're just using the.
I worked with Lindsay on this,
Yeah,
and I have to thank her publicly. She does a great job with helping us organize our stuff and then say it the right way.
although row 4 does have some information comparable to our last conversation, which is the types of rainfall events that were captured in our 3-month monitoring.
And that was 24 hour, the totals?
I think those were storm totals, not
Okay.
necessarily 24-hour totals.
I need help figuring out how a small storm, to get, I'll come in and ask. I've
I did
gone
that.
through the tutorial for the rain gauge thing.
Oh, I haven't even looked
I
at it.
now understand the difference between raw rain and rain.
Yeah.
Like learning stuff.
And neither one makes a difference on the chart.
But I put out my rain gauge for one storm, and I got 2.5 inches, and I just tried to figure out how much did the rain gauge is saying I couldn't. So I need a little more.
Okay,
help on that.
maybe we'll have a quick tutorial next time if I can set it up.
That would be great.
Just
I mean, I
kind of
can-
walk you through it really quick.
Yeah, I
Just-
now know how to highlight it and right-click and everything, but I couldn't get it to change the totals at the bottom.
Did you all get into the website?
I didn't try.
Okay.
I'm probably the only one who really cares.
No, I
Susan wants to
will.
get in
I
there.
do care.
I was in there right away.
I first look at my NOAA sources in Bridgeport and Westchester County Airport, and then if I get the information I need there, I don't care. And so they weren't of a
Yeah.
level yet that I cared to get like the Darien data.
I am my own irrigation system, so I have followed the rain
Oh, okay.
for years.
The question I have is, the smoke testing, did it produce any hardcore results? Like, how many people got caught?
Couple.
Couple.
Yeah.
So
I
bang for
think
the
it was, I
buck.
think there was 10. I think it's in the SSAS report, but I think it was, my recollection was about 10 places
10.
that we found hard connections or evidence of connection.
Yeah.
The one on Corbin was one. There was one at 20
Oh,
West
right.
Avenue was another. There was,
So that's where you
Direct
smoke,
connections.
that's where you smoke test the line in the street, the
Yeah.
lateral line,
And
If
the
it
actual
comes
main.
out the
up.
gutter, you know there's
Got
an
it.
issue. Yeah. So Ed, just while we're on the body of work performed to maintain and rehab our sewer system, is there anything you think is worth highlighting for the record?
I mean, the bottom part of this?
It's all self-explanatory and it's in the agenda, and we're doing it.
I do want to just say that, and I will talk about that when we get down to it. It'd be easier that way. Just
Oh, and the
just want to point out,
superintendent's
we did 8 miles again.
Videoed 8 miles.
Yep, row 5. As you see, as you go down from there, in that same column, 0 manholes inspected. That's all because that was part of the SSE
It's already done,
report.
yeah.
Yep. There were, let's go down to the bottom. That's probably where you want to be. So, repairs, right? Money spent this past calendar year, $650,000. Not much done as far as repairs go, manhole cover replaced. So what you're seeing is not that there was a lot of work getting done, but there was a lot of work prepared. And what you're gonna see this year,
Is actually
these numbers are,
physical
yeah,
work
these
done.
numbers are actually gonna change significantly.
Yeah, we have basically 4 million of worth of improvements
Yeah.
coming up.
We did add a section to the bottom, number 10, CMOM
Oh, yeah.
portion of it,
Yeah.
to let these folks know at Save the Sound that we are continuing to follow that process, and we continue to meet every year. We're actually going to meet again in about 4 weeks, just to set a schedule on doing some of the repairs that we had come up with, having the guys do it while Situform is in town doing their work. So that's probably the highlights, I think, Craig.
Any other questions or comments on the annual?
Do they usually get back to you with comments that are helpful or like, nice job or anything, or is it just something that goes in a flat?
Haven't yet.
There has been a small changing of the guard. Their main counsel, Roger Reynolds, is still there, but the young lady, Kat Fielder, is no longer with them. It told me to email someone else. I did get a response from her this morning saying that they had gotten the email and they were awaiting the hard copies. I'm required to do both. So that was my response. They
acknowledged
They did
receipt.
receive, yes. Yeah. I did throw in there, I know you mentioned the 4 million, but I did add that in there, that it was previously approved by the sewer commission in the town to do additional bonding.
Yep.
So,
All right, moving on, superintendent's report. What do you get?
you okay, Darren? Ready. Okay, so, they're doing some more CCTV work. They're gonna start doing lining next week. So this is the exciting part, right? They put the liner in, we start doing manholes, changing out manhole covers, all the good stuff.
Where's it gonna be next week? Where are they starting?
I think they're starting up by Cherry Lawn Park.
This contract, I think, if I recall, is about 3 miles of lining,
Yes.
and it's targeted to find, like, basically the worst leaks
Yeah.
in pipes that we found.
If you recall that map that they sent of all the piping, right?
And
It
all
was
the red,
yellow,
orange,
green,
yellow
no-
areas.
no color. These were the purples.
Yeah.
And the reds. Okay?
we got
These
some
were the
more.
worst of the worst in these areas.
Yeah.
So this is our first shot at taking it, and then the next spot will be over in the Birch area, another area that has a lot of groundwater issues. Same thing. So the hopes that we make a significant impact in the next 18 months.
Yeah, very excited.
So that's going on. They did the B CCTV work, it was completed. They did camera Mechanic Street,
Ooh, anything good?
nothing more than we had previously. They found nothing else.
Something.
I did go by there just at the end of the rainstorm. Nothing coming out of the manhole. You know, it was a 2-inch storm, but still, 2 inches of rain. We usually get, there's a possibility something could happen. No SSO coming out of that, the manhole at Sedgwick and Old Kings Highway North, Goodwise River, so.
That's weird. Okay. Has Mechanic Street had SSOs in the past?
Yes.
Yes, that was our
Before,
Achilles heel.
but that was fog, right? That was the fat
Because-
soils and grooves?
Yep. After we did the routing and cleaning of that pipe, it performed a whole lot better.
Yeah.
The major storms we had, there was water on top of the road. Kind of hard to see the
Oh.
water coming out of the manhole at that time.
Yep.
When it drained down, you could see there was some residual
Okay,
water, but
I
then,
get it, I get
I
it.
guess I'm interested if in our phase 2 or phase 3 improvements, are we targeting areas upstream of that manhole?
Yes, I think that is included. I think Susan asked that question
Yeah.
a couple months. That's
That was more
next
phase
section.
3 than
That-
phase 2.
It's
Yeah,
phase
yeah.
3. It's
Yeah,
Birch
that's
area
what I
that comes
remember.
down through there.
Yeah,
Okay.
Birch
Okay.
comes that way? Birch doesn't stay just along the post road?
Oh, it comes down through that.
I thought it started like a Rory's, came over. And then the problem was you had to put the service area ad. I thought it had, I thought there were 2 legs that came down, like Rory's and across the street, like that apartment building.
Mhm.
I thought that one went straight, and then this one came back and around.
It's hard without a map in front of
Yeah,
you,
I'm
but there's-
going on,
Post Road, it's dual-sided, right? Then it comes down to Sedgwick area. Mechanic Street, up and around. And you know what, I'll bring in the map next time so we can take a look at it. We'll take a look.
but that, if I remember right, it goes Rory's, and then it goes over back behind and goes by the ice rink.
Yeah.
And then adds to the service area.
Rest area.
Goes by the Historical Society, and then comes over to the roundabout.
And that's the manhole.
Yes.
So that's Birch.
No, I thought Birch goes straight, Birch is on the other side of the post road.
No, it crosses over.
Oh, it does, okay.
And I'll show you when we come back. That was, yeah,
Oh, wow.
All right,
It did.
so.
I thought it stayed on its own side, my mistake.
And are we good that lateral isn't adding a lot of volume? The one of the McDonald's that used to grease up and they couldn't find the manhole in the middle of the grass? Weren't you guys trying to help them one time? They had a
Yeah,
clog.
we found the manhole, we raised the manhole,
You did.
yeah. Raised it a little too high for the DOT,
They got mad?
so we had to
Put some
lower
dirt
it.
around it.
It was 3 feet in the air.
No, not now.
It was-
You put dirt around it.
Yeah, I think we dropped it 1 or 2 levels and we put a mountain of dirt around it.
Good for them for catching it.
With their lawnmower.
So, Darren, you have C?
C? We spoke to our contractor, and there was a little miscommunication. We expect to report in February that both of Nearwater and Stony Brook are done at the next meeting. That's what we expect.
Okay.
And item D, we,
Good there.
it's time for our attorney to reach out to them, and they will be tomorrow.
Okay. Thank you for the update.
And
You got it.
WPCA
Yeah.
invoice.
Do you want to do West Avenue first? I'll do
Sure,
WPC
West
last.
Avenue. We now have the transfer switch in our possession, and we're discussing how we're going to mount the generator. Is it going to be on mafia blocks or big concrete blocks? Working out the details. But we have the transfer switch that we've been waiting for.
Where is this one?
Is this West
Here's
Avenue
Cross Street?
generator?
Bailey, the end of Bailey.
Yeah, you'd have to look for it. It's kind of like you have to pass an easement to get to it over private property, and there's a fence which leaves sort of a driveway to get to the back end of the houses.
I walked by the one on Lake, I could barely see it, but I'm standing right in front of it.
All right, you know, basically on West Avenue,
Nice.
74, 78, and 82, I believe, are all under construction.
Yeah.
If you're going towards Stanford, after those three, there's a house with a plastic fence, and then right after that is the driveway for the pump station. It actually, what it empties is Rocketown. Rocketown and Tanglewood come that way, along with Kona, through the backwoods, and then it pumps so that it gets up over that little rise, and then it comes out over on Grove Street.
Kona does too?
Yep.
Wow.
Ill-spent youth.
Okay. All right. The last one, the invoice from the Stanford WPCA. So we're supposed to get it November 1st. I received it second week of December. They did notify me, telling they were having problems putting it together. So I had to be as patient as I could and did finally get it. Getting the information, looking at their calculations, we are currently in the arrears with them almost $500,000. I'm gonna get to that. So what had happened
Back
last,
driving us for 3 years?
what had happened, we were in the black about $125,000 the year before.
Yeah.
So I set my budget accordingly, set it at about $245,000 per month, which is about the average, takes us to just under 3 million, which is what we've been hitting. The project that they had pop up was a force main at the treatment plant that they had to line. It had a longitudinal crack the full length of the pipe.
Oh my God.
So instead of bonding the money, they took it out of their reserve, $3.3 million times 14%, which is our portion of it, which is $480,000 alone, which is
And they
why
didn't give us any heads up this project was happening.
they gave us a whisper that it was coming, you know what, I have to say that it wasn't more of a not knowing the project was there, it was not knowing where they were getting the money from. Because if they had used
If they
it
had bonded
bonded,
it,
if
we
they
would've
had,
noticed, yeah.
if they had reallocated something
Yeah.
out of it, it would have been over 30 years.
Yeah,
Now it's over 1 year.
yeah.
So I quickly made an adjustment. So January 1st payment today went from 245 to 295. So in the next 6 months, I'm gonna make up $300,000.
Okay,
At July 1st, I will bump it up to 330.
okay.
And for those next 3 months, before I get the invoice on November 1st, they'll do it October 1st, but I'll get it November 1st. I'll be able to make up a little bit more, another 30, but not $100,000.
Yeah.
Hopefully at that time, I'll be able to, when I get the invoice, see where I stand and see if I have to make any more adjustments.
Did you happen to plug that 480 into your budget?
This year's budget?
Yeah.
I did not. I did not.
Are there
Because
any
the budget I had already submitted my budget.
Yeah.
I did go back to Jen, to answer you, I did increase our monthly payments to
Yeah.
300,000 a month,
Oh, okay.
Are there any matching
starting
funds?
next year, but I'm gonna bump it to 330. So it'll be a little bit higher than what I budgeted for.
Okay.
So now I'm playing catch up. The only,
Yeah, we've already set the rate, we've already billed for it. So there's nothing to do.
next year, when we sit to talk about the rates, I'll have hopefully a better idea of where we stand and what the impact is on those rates. Now, I did kick out some of the capital work that I had proposed, or capital contributions, if you will. I was putting 50,000 in the pump replacement account. I was putting 50,000 in the collection system. Now, one I use to repair the pump stations. I'll be using it to do the flood hardening around the stations. The collection system, those are for spot repairs, right? Got to dig up the road, it's gonna cost me $15,000, $16,000, $20,000. I have about 90 in that account. So instead of 50, I asked for 25. So I kind of bumped some of the numbers down
So you can move.
so I could move the number up to the collection to the city of Stamford. So I didn't change the overall budget ask.
Yep.
What I did was reallocate it in different areas.
Can they get any matching funds for that? Anything in that Build Back Better, any of the programs that ARPA?
First, to Stanford?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know where, if that had happened to me, I'd probably either do what they had to do, or if I had bonding out there, see if that would cover it. But I wouldn't have whacked
But I
it
guess
for
one
3.3 million.
option is, instead of leaning on us doing spot repairs, you could always adjust contracts with the contractors that we'll be working with for the next 2 years.
Sure.
Doing repairs, right?
Yeah.
And then that ends up being bonded potentially, which is basically like taking this force main repair and having it end up in bonding.
Sure. But right now, we don't have anything out there that's significant, which is good.
Yeah.
This is more of a safety net for me on these numbers, which is why I could knock down some of their collection. Even the CCTV work.
You guys talked me into 3% increases.
So I wanted to let you know that,
Never
folks. Sorry to end it on the,
Yeah.
I consider it bad news, only because I'd like to know things like this when they're coming. I don't like to be surprised when this happens.
Yeah. Breaks happen. The good news is that force main is now
Yeah.
hopefully fixed and in good shape.
How old was it? What was it made of? Was it cast iron?
Yeah, that's interesting. Split longitudinally.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I'm thinking the only thing that splits longitudinally like that is
Overpressure event.
cast iron.
I would think cast iron, but how old was it? Same,
The original treatment plant, they didn't replace it as part of the expansion.
so they go back even further in the early 1900s? Guessing.
Nah, it's-
Yeah, it's, but it sounds like the bypass is the big nightmare they're trying to do.
But How do they do
actual
it quickly? How do
Lining wasn't,
No, it was expensive to do, I can tell you that.
that's what I'm saying, the
I
bypass.
get it. I get staging in the road and the digging and the whatever they had to do. to
Well,
make
they
it
probably
work.
had above ground, that
Yeah.
pipe they fuse in the Godwins or other large pumps like that, and they're gonna have twice as many as you
Yeah.
think, and those things are not cheap.
How quickly between when they found out they had a problem and when they solved it? What was that time frame like?
I don't know, Darren, I can tell you.
6 months?
Yeah, we didn't hear a whole lot about it.
How'd they
I
find
gotta, I wouldn't be out there promoting it either. If I had a large pipe on my
Guess what
treatment
we
facility
found?
that had a longitudinal crack and I had to get it fixed.
How did they
But-
find the crack?
Well, they have flow meters coming in and flow meters going
I get it,
out,
but-
and then flow meters that tell them their recycle rates. So when things don't add up, I'm assuming
Yeah.
I would assume that's how bad
But
it was.
we asked this question, like, could you do it with the radio waves? Could you do it with electricity? How could you find a pipe that's failing without?
I think they
leaking?
probably saw water somewhere.
Yeah.
Somewhere they weren't supposed to have it,
Yeah.
so.
Uh,
That was my Christmas gift.
Any other questions for the superintendent under superintendent's report?
I have a couple questions.
Okay.
Is 54 Post Road on the horizon?
I have not heard back from the engineer. Waiting for them to come back to talk to
It's
us.
Bertucci's. They want to put a car wash in there, so they're gonna increase their volume substantially, probably,
Right.
3 million gallons a year or something along those lines.
There will be another meeting that we have to have, but we kind of gave them some guidance on what to go do before you have the meeting with us.
Okay. And then at the corner of Hecker and Post, is that you guys? The green circle there with the S in it? Is that a buried manhole?
They always
Yes.
get buried.
Is that, how many of them are buried? And I saw 2.
It was more than 2.
Okay.
That's what I did in 1989 with a metal detector.
Green circle
Post Road.
with an
If I
S.
told you how many we raised before they paved out there, and how many we had to go back now and dig back up, no, you wouldn't be surprised.
No.
It's astonishing, astonishing. Now, they paid us on some of them to come back and do it. Darren was able to get them to pay for
Yeah, half.
the work to come back out and re-elevate the manholes. So,
Yeah, well, I mean, luckily we're able to do it before there's an issue.
my thought process is, and I do the paving here in town, if I raise the manhole to existing grade, and I mill out 2 inches, and I put 2 inches back, I should see the manhole cover. I shouldn't see it buried an inch deep. I can only imagine what it cost to pave that road, from their estimate to when they were done, because they put down more than they took out. Evidenced by the covered manholes.
That's got to affect drainage over the years, as you start adding. It's a big dam, the Post Road, left to right.
I think they like to say, or they think that they're putting a crown on the road when they add more asphalt, but I don't always believe that.
I remember the
That
curbs
matters.
being quite a bit more when we were kids.
That matters in the scout cabin because West Ave is the threshold.
Yep,
You gotta get water over West Ave.
just an inch or two. won't
And
matter.
you notice the sidewalks there are really low, because if they were the full 6 or 7 inches, they would.
Well, that was a good
Part of it.
sidewalk when it was put in.
But it would be part of the problem, right? So don't raise the center line of West Avenue,
Don't raise the center line on West
near
Avenue,
the scout cabin.
near the scout cabin. Okay. Sidewalks?
Well, as long as they're below the center line elevation.
We should talk then.
Yeah. If anything gets higher, it'll hold back more water.
It'll hold back the
All
water.
all of
Okay.
downtown kind of works that way.
Yeah, I guess so.
Everything,
And the big storms near you.
yep. Time to go fishing.
3-inch curb, Darren, in front of the square.
Bet you the people on the opposite side of the road would
Any,
disagree with you.
yeah, no, it just, yeah, like I said, just don't make it any higher than the center line. Any further questions for the superintendent? Any new business?
Yes.
Okay.
Quick.
What is the nature of the new business?
Visiting pump stations.
Okay. Do I have a motion
I don't have it here.
to go into new business
What
to
was
discuss
the
visiting,
topic?
visiting pump stations?
Visiting pump stations.
Not pump stations visiting you, but you visiting pump
Yes.
stations? Okay.
And
Hold on,
I'll give,
What's up?
whoa, sorry.
There's a motion?
I'll make a motion to go into new business.
Have a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor? All right, let's talk about pump stations.
Okay, something came up where I was, in my mind, questioning another committee and thinking that they didn't visit things, so I'm like, in my own mind, I'm like, we need to, or at least I need to visit all the pump stations so that I see what I'm representing, or what is representing me as a commissioner.
I've wanted to do that since I joined this commission. I think I would, I mean, just because you sent a picture of something, I'm like, to my sons, what is this? What is this thing? I have no clue. Mike says, I think it's a transformer. That's what it was. I would like to visit the pump stations as well, because I have no clue what I'm talking about.
Do you want to go to all of them? You want to start with a few of them? You want to,
Well, I visited two since I thought of that, because
so are we,
I walked in and,
As long as you don't have a quorum.
As I
We can
so I
provide
went to some
somebody.
government training at one point in my career here, working for the town. And as long as all the members are the same party, it's a caucus. It is not a quorum. So we're 3 Republicans want to go out to do this. It's technically a caucus and does not require noticing.
skinny
Here's a bad
You can
thing
check
for
that.
me. I don't know what political party any of you
Yeah.
are.
Well, that's what
Which is-
causes the problem.
So we could
apparently.
just notice a meeting and wander around, you know?
Yeah, you
How
could.
big is
We
it?
could do that
You
You
too.
could if all of you wanted to
Yeah.
go at the same time.
I don't
Craig
care.
probably
only-
doesn't
I don't
wanna
want to
go.
tie up your staff guys and say,
Yeah, no, I
hey,
mean-
Steve, can I go look at this? I don't want to do that. You know, that's not cool. I'd love to do it. It's been ages since I've
Look,
seen them all.
I think it is
But-
reasonable requests. I think it's something that we could accommodate at some point in the schedule. And if it's 2 people that want to go, just schedule it and go.
Yeah.
If we want to make it 3 or more, we'll notice a special meeting.
Unless we're all in the same party, in which case it doesn't matter. I don't know.
I don't know the
if
answer
you
to
need
that.
to
I'm going by Roberts, so I don't know
You're
the
the
answer to that.
Well,
There's nothing wrong with noticing. I mean, to me, it's like
No,
fall
I know, I
over
know, I
noticing.
Can I
You know?
just
Well, even
start
if
out
people
with a
wanted to
list of
witness.
them? I mean, just if I at least see them from the road or, as close as I can get, it's a reasonable start, in my opinion. And then we can go further from that.
You're
I don't
gonna
know them
wanna
all off the top of my head. I don't know all 14 of them.
No,
I need someone
you're
to
gonna wanna see
explain.
the pumps, you're gonna wanna see the valves, you're not gonna
I
wanna
know
look
that.
at.
I know I am, because for me, having been a mechanic,
Yeah.
Well, we do
but I
have,
don't, I can start with just a visual of the.
well, we have a report from Arcadis of a number of of all of the pump stations.
Every single one.
Yeah.
Every single one of them, with pictures.
Pictures.
In the report. So if you want to see the valves and you want to see the pumps, there are pictures of everything in the reports. I'm just trying to manage time, right? If you go and you're opening lids at every single one, that could take all day.
Yeah, no, I don't need to see,
Yeah.
I just.
You just kind of want to
to
get the
me, this-
parameter of
the
like,
starting
what's here,
point-
where is
yes.
it, I just get my bearings, kind of thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm tagging along just to learn what this stuff is.
Any preference on weather?
I have got full rain gear for hiking. I'm good.
Of course there is.
You'll probably be busy when
Well,
it's
you're
all
right.
hard to-
Are you saying like April, May versus
You're gonna
January,
order what,
February? Yeah,
75
okay,
sunny,
okay.
low wind?
Balmy.
Listen, we're gonna be out there.
Would you
Let's
mind
be
waiting a couple
comfortable.
of months so it potentially could be a little warmer?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
on that part is fine.
I'll
Like
give
I
you
said,
the
if
list.
I get the list, like I
You
went
just
and
do it
saw Stony Brook, and I went and saw West Avenue. Actually, we should have talked about West Avenue and, the leaves and such that.
Well, if you get the list, there's nothing stopping you two from going out there and checking them out.
Yeah, no, I'm just asking.
Is the thing on Lake Drive is a pump station, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's where I am.
And there's
So I go by that
You see
regularly.
a
I'll
cast
give you the
iron,
list.
you see not a cast iron, but a
If you don't have it, I'll send you the. link
Galvanized
to the
lid.
Pump station.
rectangular.
What's the piece that comes
Okay.
up like?
It's a pretty thick
That's
thing,
the
but
vent.
if it's not online, I'll
Yeah.
give you the link anyway. I'll
I
send
see
it
someone
I'll send it
doing
there.
one.
Generator.
I don't think there's a generator. Is there a generator?
No,
In
there's
the
no
list of the pump
generator.
stations.
Yeah, there's just an electrical panel.
But the
Yes, there is an
pump station
electrical
report will
panel.
have the addresses for all of them on. and-
Perfect.
And I think there's a map in there of all the pump station
Yeah,
locations.
I mean, I know where some of them are, but I just can't.
I'll go with you because I would love to know what these things are. I have names to attach to these pieces of equipment. The vents, the periscope.
Now, we have two with buildings. That's the.
Yeah.
Right, Stony Brook and,
Wheat-
Clearwater.
well, wait a minute, there's one over on
Hoyt.
Andrews Drive.
Hoyt's
that's got a
got a
And
building.
wait, and 5 Mile, something?
Yes, the stone one that.
Mile doesn't have a
who
building,
built?
it's just
Uh,
a panel.
The contractor built. There's the one on Andrews Drive, the
Yeah,
stone one.
Andrews
Yeah.
Drive, I used to
Drive
go by
is
that all
a
the
good one,
time.
that's stone.
Yeah.
It's got a pervious paver up to it.
Yep.
I used to drive.
Oh, yeah, Hoyt has
My
one.
parents lived
Post
on
Road
Torrey
East
Hall.
is underground. Mile. Hale, Old Kings Highway South, they're all underground. Brookside's underground.
Raymond Street's underground.
Seagate's underground.
Chasmar underground.
Chasmar.
Raymond.
Okay.
Chasmar, you can see the generator, but it's no building.
Oh, you
Five.
found
Have at it, and
Do
I'm
they all
sure Ed
need
will accommodate
electrical
reasonable
panels?
requests for
Whatever you
staffing.
Yeah, no,
I'll send,
like I
I'll send you
said,
that stuff. Let's get started with the pump station report and the list, and we'll go from there.
perfect.
And they all need either an electrical panel or a generator, is that correct?
I'm sorry.
Above
They would all-
ground?
They would all have an electrical panel. Some will have a generator.
Some
No,
you'll see a
They all have-
propane
They all have
tank.
generators.
All have generators.
Really?
Absolutely.
You usually see like a
Without it.
diamond plate hatch, or 2 or 3.
I remember changing the oil on those and it came out milky white, from the propane. That's pretty common,
Any more new business?
Nope.
time ago.
Anyone want to stand in for Peter?
Yep, I could do it.
I'll make a motion for it.
Second. All those in favor? Thank you, Channel 79. We are done for the day.